at the end of the day, when you look at the quarterback and the head coach and you look at the culture, those three factors, they've won a bunch.
Josh Allen is not a product of Stefon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be better than fine. I think this is the year, and I mean it.
For as much as the NFL offseason can bring hope and excitement, you can be sure that it also brings some teams their fair share of stress and scrutiny. For one team in particular, the Buffalo Bills, an outflowing of veteran talent has convinced many to write them off. Yet, beneath the surface lies a strategic recalibration that could redefine the Bills' future. Some savvy moves by the front office, some exciting talent in the draft, and, of course, Josh Allen means the Bills aren't going away anytime soon. Let's take a deep dive into one of the best NFL teams flying completely under the radar in 2024. First, let's review the Bills' offseason moves. Who left Buffalo, who has just arrived, and why this ordeal is not as bad as some fans are making it out to be. The most notable change to the Bills this offseason was the departure of Stefon Diggs, who was traded with a 2024 6th-round draft pick and a 2025 5th-round draft pick to the Houston Texans in exchange for just a 2025 2nd-round pick. And yes, even with his dip in production during the 2023 season, Diggs was still a top 10 receiver in the league. He was Buffalo's #1 offensive weapon, and he certainly left a void in this team that will be extremely difficult to fill. But whether Bills fans believe it or not, there were multiple significant upsides to the release of the All-Pro talent. One of the best parts about Diggs' release was the Bills' newfound cap space. Diggs would cost the Bills $27.8 million in 2024 and $27.3 million in 2025. When they decided to send him to Houston, that salary went with him, giving the Bills a lot more freedom in their 2024 cap, used to sign more talent and give them more freedom in the next couple of years. There was also a slight problem with Diggs' character and attitude during his tenure in Buffalo. We saw it in January 2023 when Stefon had a major meltdown on the sidelines during the Bills' playoff loss to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Peace. Him and Stefon Diggs, there was no peace. It was always something scratching the surface between those two. So now he feels like his mind is clear, he's going to be peaceful, and he can just play the game of football and not have to worry about his stuff.
Clips of Diggs screaming and waving his arms at quarterback Josh Allen on the bench went viral before he vacated the locker room without listening to the Bills' head coach Sean McDermott's post-game breakdown. While he is a productive wide receiver, this is the Bills' first full season with Joe Brady as offensive coordinator, and it is clear that Brady was happy giving Diggs a smaller role in his game plan. Given his age, the trade was a no-brainer, and the loss of the locker room drama is a happy bonus. The Bills also let go of All-Pro safety Jordan Poyer, a 12-year veteran who had been with the team since 2017. Poyer is now 33 years old, meaning his time in the NFL could be coming to an end soon. Jordan has also been rather injury-prone in the past few years, missing a slew of games in 2022 due to elbow and rib injuries, and having issues with his knee that caused him to miss Week 4 in 2023. The release of Poyer also saves Buffalo a cool $5.72 million, which has been used to acquire fresh, young talent. Some of that new young talent came this offseason via the 2024 NFL Draft. Most notably, the 6'3" wide receiver out of Florida State University, Keon Coleman. Coleman caught 11 touchdown passes with the Seminoles in 2023 and went for over 650 receiving yards. He also had 300 yards on 25 punt returns and earned second-team All-American honors by Sports Illustrated and Fox Sports. The 21-year-old has some adjustments to make if he is going to be a good NFL wide receiver, most notably as a separator. But if he can do that, he could be a very enjoyable weapon to watch considering who he has at quarterback. The idea of Coleman's athleticism and contested catchability being on the receiving end of Josh Allen's quarterback play should be very exciting for Bills fans. And while Coleman won't be enough to help replace the production of Diggs all alone, the Bills went out and got even more talent for the wide receiver room, signing former Washington receiver Curtis Samuel.
Well, they need somebody on the outside, but having said that, Samuel is so versatile, still has that burst. You know, again, Washington was such a mess offensively last year and has been for a while under Ron Rivera, but the fact is he can play. And it's worth noting that the last year the Bills top 4 in the NFL in terms of slot targets, so that is something that they like to do in terms of where Josh Allen likes to throw, in terms of what they like to target. And so Curtis Samuel becomes kind of interesting here. That's a versatile player in a much better offense than he's ever played in.
Samuel has had success in a Joe Brady system before and is a very useful, versatile wide receiver. When pairing him with the big-bodied rookie Coleman, the promising third-year talent Khalil Shakir, and the even more exciting tight end Dalton Kincaid, the Bills have a very intriguing group of pass catchers. Now, while the arsenal of weapons that the Bills have put together should be good enough to win games, none of it matters if they don't have a quarterback that can utilize these players properly. Thankfully, they do have that guy. In fact, they have one of the very best in the NFL. While fans of other teams have been heavily critical of Josh Allen, quick to point out his high turnover rate and careless interceptions, don't get it twisted. The former MVP finalist is an absolute beast. Yes, since 2020, the Wyoming product has led the entire league in turnovers with 57, but in that same stretch of time, Allen has also led the league in total touchdowns with 174. That's 23 more than Patrick Mahomes in second place. Not only does he know how to get the ball into the end zone, but the guy knows how to move the chains. In 2023, Josh ranked second in success rate in the NFL. Success rate is an advanced stat that measures how successful a quarterback's first or second down play is at gaining at least half the yards needed for a first down, and how successful a third or fourth down play is at converting it to a first down. The only quarterback that outplayed Allen in this regard in 2023 is Brock Purdy, who is surrounded by the NFL version of the Avengers on that 49ers offense. It's unbelievable that people try to discredit Allen's 2023 season, when he became the first ever player to have multiple total touchdowns in 16 games in a single season in NFL history. Now, while the quarterback is arguably the most important position in football, let's remember that this is a team sport. And while we've talked about the new pass catchers Allen will have at his disposal, we haven't even mentioned running back James Cook. The University of Georgia alumni is coming off a career year. Cook ran for over 1,100 yards in 2023 and went for an impressive 445 yards receiving, cementing himself as one of the best ball catchers out of the backfield in the entire league. What makes his presence even more promising for the Bills' offense is that he's only 24 years old and has so much more room for improvement. For the record, his rookie backup Ray Davis looks pretty handy as well. Josh Allen is a dynamic quarterback who should be able to play high-level football with any supporting cast. With his aggressive playstyle driving the Bills' offense, complemented by new talent like Keon Coleman and an emerging star in running back James Cook, the Bills' offense looks like a unit that should not only succeed in 2024, but for the foreseeable future. And that promising future for the Bills' offense looks even more solid with offensive coordinator Joe Brady behind it. Joe Brady, former Bills quarterback coach, took over as offensive coordinator for the Bills in the middle of the 2023 season after Ken Dorsey was fired after Game 10. One of the reasons Allen has the highest number of TDs, but also why he has led the league in picks. With Brady at the helm, these unyielding plays have begun to slowly disappear. We'll surely see Allen throw some risky deep balls down the middle of the field in 2024, but at a much smaller rate. Instead of going for a goal on every single play of the drive, Brady has been using a much more efficient approach to the passing game and tends to lean more on the run. This is evident when you look at the numbers of second-year running back James Cook, who, once Brady took over as OC, began running like an absolute stud because he was being used right. Over the first 10 weeks of the season, Cook was 20th in the NFL in carries, but 6th in yards. From weeks 11 to 18, he was 10th in the league in carries and finished 4th in yards from scrimmage. This year, not only should you expect there to be a larger focus on the Bills' run game, but we should see a huge boom in James Cook's production and a much more efficient offense with fewer turnovers. And on the other side of the ball, the Bills have a huge group of guys that are looking to break out this season. With the offseason departure of safeties Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, there are a few players ready to step up. Looking to lead the charge in the Bills secondary is cornerback Chris Benford. He returns to the Bills for his third NFL season after an extremely promising year 2 performance. After an injury that derailed his rookie season in 2022, Benford proved to be one of the most solid young quarterbacks in the entire league. In 2023, he'll also be returning safety Taylor Rapp, who, although only being used as a rotational piece behind Hyde and Poyer, looked great. Rapp played in 16 regular season games, recording 50 tackles and had a game-winning interception against the Dolphins in Week 18 to help the Bills claim the AFC East title. Buffalo will also have multiple playmakers on defense returning from injury this season, like linebackers Von Miller and defensive tackle Daquan Jones. Unfortunately, Matt Milano just suffered a torn bicep that will keep him out for much of the 2024 season. Injuries always pose a significant threat and have led to a lot of the team's shortcomings in recent years. It is for this reason that the Matt Milano injury is such a shame. He's such an important piece at the heart of this defense. But I still think there is enough talent there for the Bills defense to end the season as a top 10 unit. There are obviously a lot more unknowns surrounding the defense this time around, but they've been learning from the best and still have some serious players on their roster. They're surely only going to get better, and in the meantime, their high-flying offense will be able to make up for their shortcomings. While the roster does appear to be in a much better state than everyone is making out, it remains undeniable that the AFC East has never looked tougher. The Dolphins have just paid Tua, who looks set to rack up the stats again with the NFL 100's top-ranked player, Tyreek Hill. Oh, and 4 or 5 other outrageously fast and talented stars. Then you have the Jets, who will be determined to make this year count with 4-time MVP winner Aaron Rodgers. All 3 of these teams are looking to not only win the division, but have hopes of going all the way to the Super Bowl in New Orleans next February. If the Bills can make it out of a tougher AFC East, they will probably then have to beat their nemesis, the Kansas City Chiefs, in the playoffs, who will be as motivated as ever given they have a three-peat on the line. The Chiefs have also been so consistently dominant over the past few years that people are already labeling them as a lock to not just win the AFC this year, but to win the Super Bowl. They might also run into MVP Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who will always be a strong test. Whilst the Bills have beaten the Ravens in their last 2 matchups, and Jackson has had just as hard of a time trying to get into the Super Bowl as Allen, it wouldn't be an easy game. The gauntlet could also include playoff games against teams such as Cincinnati or Houston, who are both primed and ready for a run. It's a hell of a gauntlet, and that's just to make it to the Super Bowl. Then you have to actually win the damn thing. The odds are stacked against them, but in many ways, they always are. But with Allen at QB, one of the best young running backs in the game, promising talent at the wide receiver and tight end position, and lots of returning depth on the defensive side of the ball, this team is poised to compete with anyone. The Bills should be on par with not only their division rivals in the Dolphins and the Jets, but with the Ravens, Bengals, and who knows, maybe even the Chiefs. For Bills fans who are fed up with the January pain, our fingers are crossed for a trip to New Orleans in February. But what do you think? Does this team have what it takes to get across the line? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.